Okay, cool. So, thanks guys for being here. This is a totally impromptu and not very, like we didn't spread the word very far and wide for this one, but creation of living chat. And yeah, I just wanted to this creation of living. So we have a class coming up next weekend, January 1st through the 3rd. It's going to be at my home. And I've done the class before in Paris, and we were going to do it in Paris last summer. And then, of course, quarantine and all that stuff. And it's been creation of living has also been this sort of ongoing like conversation and creation. And we were just talking about maybe turning it into a podcast soon. So, but it's one of those things that it's like, what the hell is it? And to me, it's one of those kind of concept, like energies that can't really be defined, which is always super yummy and wonderful. And it really came for me, it was like, I started asking years ago, okay, so what would I actually like to create in the world? What's the future that I would like to see? Catherine, I'm just going to mute you. What's the future that I would like to see that I know is possible? And whenever I would ask that question, it was always this, like the bodies would always start talking. But it wasn't like, oh, I need to put my hands on lots of bodies, or I need to do body process classes, or, it was just a sense of like how much our bodies actually know and about the creation of living being this ongoing adventure of being, this ongoing expression of being, this ongoing play with the earth and the beauty of the earth and everything that it has to offer. And this like adventure of, to me, allowing everything to contribute to everything. And for me, it's like I've always lived very, like I've always been very my body has always been like a huge part of my life. And I'm so lucky that, when I was a little kid and I couldn't stop moving, my mom plunked me in dance classes at age 2 and lied about my age so that I could take dance classes. And that was the beginning. Um, and and so to me, my body has always been a huge part of how I create my life, and like seeking, I mean, basically I've always been a hedonist. And thank goodness for access consciousness, because I wasn't really willing to claim, own, and acknowledge that for a long time. Like I thought it was wrong, but I was always like, well, of course I would want pleasure, like massive, mega pleasure to be woven through every aspect of my life. Like, wouldn't we all, well, it turns out that a lot of the world is not interested in that. um, and so when I started looking at it, I was like, wow, what could we explore and what could we play with these energies of like really tapping into the body and its total, like everything that it actually knows, when your body is unfettered and unencumbered by your thoughts and your mind and your identity and your definitions of you and everything. It's like, what does it know? What does it know about the intensity of living that's available, the intensity of pleasure that's available, the intensity of beauty and luxury and hedonism, not from approving, not from a, like, I've gotten this reality right, but from actually like every moment being this opportunity to live hedonistically, every moment being this opportunity to let your body show you what it knows about that, the capacities that it has for pleasure. And how do you create your business from that? And how do you create money from that? And how do you have sex with that? And how do you have relationships with that? And how do you move through the world with that? And how does that show up? Like, to me, creation of living is like this, like my cocktails, it's like I was, said this a few times in various places, but I don't know how to make regular cocktails. Like if somebody asked me for like a standard cocktail, I would have no idea what to put in it. And because I like getting creative and going like, hey body, like this is one that I made. I did some signature cocktails where I made recipes for people for gifts. And this one was like, we chatted, Georgia Watson bought it for her mom. It's called the Diane. It's named after her mom. And we chatted and she was like, okay, so she loves like herbal things. And like she gave me this download of like what her mom enjoys. And then I was like, oh, okay, and this is like white pine and rosemary and have fennel and like all these flavors. But my body creates the cocktails. And I listen to it. And what if it wasn't just cocktails or food, but it was your body could actually like show you how to create your business from that space of total hedonism, like the pleasure, the intense pleasure of being alive that is available, that your body could show you how to create money from that. And you could actually be so present with these like moments of like, this like just this like orgasmic living that our bodies are capable of, and let that be infused into everything that you create and every moment of your life. So if you're like, I'm going to make a little snack, it becomes this beautiful creation and like honoring of your body, or I'm going to create a class or a whatever, it's like it all becomes this like expansion of beauty and pleasure, not only for you, but for the rest of the world. So that's sort of to me like what this very undefinable sort of topic. I don't even really know what to call it, but just like possibility called creation of living. That's like the beginning of what it is to me. And of course there's so much more to it. And it's sort of like a springboard for diving into deeper conversations about, okay, so what is it actually like to, like, how could you have more of a connection to your body, more of a presence with your body, more of the sense of like getting out of the judgment that pleasure is in this reality. I mean, this very religious reality that we live in, pleasure is not something that is valued. And that's, to me, I'm like, that is crazy. Like, what would it be like if we actually were like, oh, no, has anybody looked around at this beautiful planet of ours, and really let that like inform and inspire everything. So it's also like, it's a topic, it's a conversation, but to me it's also a movement, of like re-beautifying the world and our worlds, and re-pleasurifying, and stepping into being the hedonists that we actually truly be when we are being us. And I love it that there's some Europeans here. You guys are amazing. It's so late there. It's great. It's like 2 a.m. in Europe. Brilliant. So does anybody have any questions, or like, I'm happy to just go anywhere with you guys. Anything you are wondering about or?
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question. I would like to learn more about leadership
Mm,
with hedonism and with my body, whether it's
awesome.
like out loud or just being the energy of leadership. So that's something I've been thinking about is how to apply it to this class. And
That's cool.
yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's so one of the things we played with in Paris when we did the class in Paris a year and a half ago, I guess it was at this point, um, is actually going out into the world and like influencing the molecules in the space based on what you be. So actually like, and this is, in it'll be different in Boulder because we're in it, it's a different class, but where we did the class was on the Champs-Élysées, and so we'd go out, we'd like do some exercises with our bodies, and then we'd go out and we'd adventure into the world and literally just experiment with, okay, so if I stay turned on and even turn that even up even more, you know, like what's that? And I mean turned on in this bigger sense, not just sexually, but like turned on for a living, an embodiment and being alive. What's it like to interact with the world from that space and as that space? And what's it like to actually go and have a conversation with somebody and see what you can contribute to them? So, what if leadership is that like, what if we could play with even like leadership of the molecules, you know, and and yes, that inspires people too. And, so it's not just keeping it on that level, but it's like turning whatever molecules you can as you move through the world, turning them on, turning them up, and actually like allowing your body to be this like beacon of pleasure and beauty and like aliveness, and um I think Gary gave me this wedgie recently in I was actually in a private session, and he said something. I was just thinking about this today. He said something about how how he used to dress before he had lots of money, and he was like, I would dress this, I could get away basically with certain types of clothing or whatever, um, because they looked good on me, and it was just this invitation. It was basically this like wedge in my world of like what, sort of like, it was like, what would it be? Well, what I started looking at is like, okay, what if I really dressed my body the way that it actually desired to be dressed every day, and not for like, I'm very comfortable right now. I've been freezing since I've been here. It's so weird. I'm like, I'm in California. I'm cold. Um, but but today I was like, okay, my body was like, okay, I've been warm and stuff, but like could do something else with me here, So it's that level of like being so present with how you are with your body that like when you move in the world, you create a different effect, and not just based on people's judgments, but actually like an invitation, you know? And so everything you've decided leadership is, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POC, POD, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because it can be, all the things that we think it is, It can, but what if it's also like just like willingness to like leave possibilities in your wake with how you be and what you're also willing to choose? Because like the conversation of hedonism, it's a very, I mean, hedonism is a very judged and judgeable word in the world, right? It's very wrong to have that, you know. Um, so, but there's also people that are so inspired by that, that are like, wait a minute, I can do that. I can choose that. So, yeah. So what if the total pleasure and hedonism and like orgasmicness of you living really present with your body could change and inspire universes?
That.
And what if that was a part of leadership, was like being like, yeah, I chose not to turn myself down today. If I give you an erection, sorry, not sorry. Or whatever.
Nipples are tingly. Again, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. You're welcome. Yeah, and that's like, and then it's like, so how long are you willing to sustain that?
Mm.
You know, because it's like, okay, cool, we could all be like, oh, that's fun. Yeah, you know, but it's like, truly, would you be willing to be that in the world and turn it up more every day? Yeah. So everything that doesn't allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POC, POD, shorts, boys and beyonds. And what I just want to invite you guys also to acknowledge, what are the things that you're choosing in your life right now that are that? You know, so where is that in your life already? And how much more could you choose and step into? Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging. That's cool. That's a really cool energy. Wow. God, so many fucking amazing people in the world. Thank you guys. So cool. Hmm. So what other, do you guys have other questions?
Hey,
Hi,
Heather.
Heather.
Oh,
Yes. Who wants to go? Rhonda, or was
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Can you talk about how this applies to business?
Yeah. Well, how pleasurable is business in this reality? Right. Yeah. And it's really interesting to notice, like, I notice this with myself too. It's like when I'm really enjoying and really having fun. And it's not just with business, because, you know, so let me back up and just say, like, so from a joy of business, you know, point of view or whatever, business is the adventure of living, right? So it's these energies of like, you wake up in the morning and you're a business. You're like, cool, what can I create today? How can I create my life living reality, you know? Um, so it's not just when you're like working on your business or your job or whatever, but it's the business of everything. You know, how do you feed your body? How do you be with your body? You know, there's so many different aspects of that. So I would say, for one, like, it, even just acknowledging that you know, like if I'm like making a cocktail, you know, I'm in business, you know, like I'm creating the business of my life and living, and I'm expanding the pleasure of it and the hedonism of it. Um, or you're so um Catherine, darling, I'm muting you again. There's some background noise. Um, so so if we take that bigger perspective of what business actually is, you know, um, then what are you, where are you being these energies in your business, in the business of your life and living already, and not acknowledging it, right? And then when you start to acknowledge something, it just expands it, it allows it to grow. And you go and you're like, oh, cool. Hey, oh yeah, you know, like just as you're moving through your day, it's like, oh, like this is cool, you know. And that can, even that can actually bring more money into your world, because you're like, I'm in business right now, you know, I'm doing my business right now. Hey, what would it take for money to come and play with me, you know? But then also just if like when you're actually in your like business activities, like you're, you know, working, quote unquote, like, but you're, you know, you're engaged like having a meeting or creating something or whatever. It's like, where do you go to, where do you make it hard? Where do you go to busyness? And to make it hard to prove to you and anybody else that you're working, you know, and that you're like worthy of the money that's coming in, you know, or that you're trying hard enough to bring in the money that you'd like to have come in or whatever, you know. And it's so interesting to see when we get out of that and um we go to the Catherine. I'm muting you again. But when we go to the like total fucking joy of creation, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I mean, like today I was just like, oh my God, like I'm like, I had this meeting this morning and I got so inspired. And then I was like, like just doing all these different things and like playing on Facebook. And then I was like, I gotta make some videos and da, da, da. But it was just this like, wow, you know, it's like that. So we so often don't allow ourselves to have that space because it's almost like it's too easy and it's too fun for it to be anything that's of enough value to bring you money. So everything, all of that is, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POC, POD, shorts, boys and beyonds. And, you know, what do you know about that? What does your body know about that? Like when your body is suffering, when you're unhappy, you know, is that like, is that actually how you want to live? Is that actually how you would like to create money and create, you know? So we have to also like, it's like we talk about all these things in access where it's like money follows joy and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, but then it's like a totally different reality to choose it in the moment and go, okay, am I really having fun right now? Am I really like intensely enjoying this? Because if I'm not, maybe I should do something different, or maybe I should change it, or maybe I should just fucking let go and start enjoying it, you know?
Thank you.
Your point of view creates your reality. And that's such a cool, I mean, I love playing with that and just going, okay, what's the point of view that I have right now, that I'm functioning from right now, that's creating the reality that is showing up? And do I, like, how would I like to change that? If what's right here right now is not like blowing me away, you know, then, or if it's not, like, even if it is, wow, what else, you know? Um, what else can I add? What else can I choose? What else can I create? What point of view can I change? Do you have any other questions about that, Rhonda? One sec.
No, thank you.
Oh, Emily, did you have a question?
I had the exact same question as Rhonda.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I've sort of like, I don't know, I guess started to see as a good sign is when I'm like, oh God, I haven't worked in days, but it's because I'm having so much fun, and I'll catch myself going like, oh, I should probably work, um, and then I look at my life and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I've been totally creating, and it just doesn't feel like work, which is a great sign.
It was so funny because after Dane's being you class, there was like sort of this opening for like greater. And I saw myself going into the seriousness of greater, like, okay, now I have to like get my website right and my income streams right and like all these things. And I was planning on like shutting myself up for Christmas and just like getting work done. And I was like, what? How funny that I thought that that's what would create greater or make me greater. Like it was such a funny thing to acknowledge that I've been functioning from that. So
Yeah. It's like, okay, now it's time to get serious and make it hard so that I can prove that I'm doing business, right? Yeah.
it's like, oh my, it's fun because it's the right thing to do.
Totally. Yeah. And it's funny because today I was like, okay, like there's a lot of things that I'd actually like to create with my business today. And so I just sort of like decided in a way at the beginning of the day, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna, like, my brother wanted me to come over there with my kids and blah, blah. And I was just like, I'm not gonna do that, but but then like there was such a joy of creation, that showed up where it was just like, oh, and then I get to do this thing, and then I get to do this thing, and then I get to do this thing, and it was all like business, like, I would like worked all day on my business, but it's all been just a total delight, and I got a lot done. And so part of that is also like, and this is more sort of like business class, like Joy Business or Business Pods, like more of that kind of a conversation. But part of it is also like setting up your business to like have people that work with you that are doing like, that's been a huge part of this all opening up for me lately is I feel like I'm finally like the things that I do in my business are the things that I should be doing, basically. Whereas before there was a lot of stuff that I was doing that would be so much better for somebody else to do who's better at me at whatever that is, or better than me. So it's been cool, like setting up a team and having like so many people contributing, because I can be like, here's a video, and then the team runs with it, or here's a, so it makes it like easier and more elegant to move with creation, is to have other people contributing. So that's part of it too. And you could look at that with your life as well. Like I've done that a lot with just, I mean, I was like, when my kids were little, I mean, I've always had people that helped me around my house and did the laundry and cooked for the kids and made their lunches and helped them with homework. And, now they do that themselves basically. Um, but I mean, I had, nannies or whatever that would just totally thought I was like the worst mom because I was like, I'm going to pay you to do everything that I don't want to do. Which is basically everything that makes me a bad mom in this reality, or everything that would make me a good mom if I did it, but I don't want to. So I'm going to pay you to do it, But that's like setting up your life and your business in a way that actually really works for you, so that you, because there are some pragmatics of this conversation, it's like, if like living orgasmically and whatever that is, that tends to have a lot of judgment, but living from like the pleasure and the hedonism and the joy of creation, it's like, it does involve bringing people and things into your life that contribute and make it easier and more elegant for how you move, and in the world and in your days. And that's, you know, that also takes some balls to be like, you know, however you create that. Like it just takes the willingness to be different in this reality. Because if you look at like motherhood or business, like they're totally the same in that the more you suffer and work, the more valuable you are. And I was always like, well, that is just not fun. So fuck that. I don't want to do that. So
How old are your kids?
now they're 13 and 15. Yeah. But they were 1 and 3 when I got divorced. So it was, I was like, help, because they were little hellions. I have 2 boys.
Me too.
Yeah, for a long time it was like, oh my God,
Mhm.
somebody's gonna die here. Let's hope it's not me.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hmm. Other questions? Hmm.
Can I just say, Heather, I love that you're using hedonism in particular for this class called The Creation of Living. Because I think in this reality, a lot of people use hedonism to check out or to avoid and to not create. And it's like, holy wow, like if I really acknowledged how much pleasure I have in creating my life and not avoiding it, like what else would be possible? So cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is such a judgeable offense in this reality, and it has such a intensely negative connotation from all the religious stuff that I mentioned before. But it's like we've been circulating these quotes about, hedonism is like the wealth of possibility that your body naturally functions from, you know, things like that. Like it's like this, like all the bodies are like, I love that. Oh my God, that's so fun. Thank you. Oh my God, that's so great. Things are changing. Oh, so cool. Yeah. Um, yeah. And so what if that's like a doorway in a way, that very few will walk through, but that you could, if you chose, you can, if you choose to walk through to a completely different space of functioning in the world. Would you be willing to be that audacious? Yeah. Oh gosh, this is cool. So everything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, puck, pod, shorts, wisdoms. Because you'll have a lot of people that will judge you for that. There's a lot of judgment that comes with that kind of living. But who fucking cares? It's your life, it's your body, it's your world. I drank a really good cocktail right in front of my parents at 1:00 this afternoon. we did this we did the joy of business thing, and I made this yummy cocktail for the Zoom. I made a red martini for joy of business holiday party. And it was so funny the way they were like, oh, our daughter is an alcoholic. I was like, cheers. It's so good. Hmm. Yeah. Cool. Anything else, guys? Cool. So, for those of you who, are in the US or can get to the US, I don't really know. Like, I guess if you're in Mexico, you could come. um, the class is happening. We'll do it in Europe. As soon as I can get to Europe, we'll do it in Europe as well. But it's this is going to be a really different one. This is a really it's in my home, so it's a small group. It starts on the 1st of January, so it's Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, the 1st through the 3rd. And we're gonna be having, like, the class involves food and drink, let's just say. Like, we'll be having some really hedonistic, like, moments with eating and drinking, and it's a very sensuous class, where we really play. We play with our bodies. We have, different conversations about sex and business and creation, and wherever you guys are asking to go as well. And really, like, in beauty and pleasure, basically. Is this class only live or also online? It is only live, because I need to be able to feed you. So, yeah, it is only live. I know people have asked for it to be online, but I'm like, oh, I kind of have thought about it, but it's one of those where there's, like, touch and taste and all of that, your senses involved. So, yeah. But they were, if you can't get to the US right now, there will be more. So, yeah. And what else? What can you just take from this conversation and just run with too? So, if you want to check out any details about the class, the link is, I think it's heathernichols.com/COL New Year. I'm pretty sure that's what the link is. It has actually check out the page. The page is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's this gorgeous creation in and of itself. So, yeah. Prereqs, just foundation at any point ever, like, yeah, not within a particular period of time. So, or, if you've done like a Being You class or something like that, just not brand new to access.
That might break their brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they're gonna die,
Yeah.
we can't be responsible for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And bring your beautiful, if you come, bring your beautiful clothing. Like, we'll have a Friday night, it will be sort of like a cocktail party / so bring your bring what your body would love to be adorned. And I keep my house very warm, so you can wear a little strappy number even in January and you'll be warm. My house is like 80 degrees a lot of the time. So, cool. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for coming and playing. Have a really beautiful Christmas and New Year's and holidays and all of that good stuff. I'm grateful for you for being here and being in the world.
This is awesome. I can't wait to come.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So grateful. Thank you.
I'm in Canada.
Ah, we should have we should smuggle a bus across the border or something and get the
It's easier to
Canadians.
fly, like it's easier to get across the border by plane. You can't get across by vehicle.
Yeah,
And I don't even know what's happening right now.
I get it. I get it. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Mwah. Big hugs, big kisses to you all. Have a good day or night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.